Okay, ready or not, here I go. I'm sure everybody who's talked about this movie has made that joke. But alas, we are going to be talking about that movie, Ready or Not, from 2019, not too long ago. I remember when this was in theaters. I did not go see it, but I heard good things. I heard that, hey, it was just a fun time, a more original horror slash comedy movie, and in the end, it's nothing crazy, of course, but well, it is crazy as in the content's crazy, but hey, it's just a good time, and yeah, so let's start off by just saying that it was directed by Matt Benintelli Olpin, and Tyler Gillett. So a directing tandem. I probably said their names wrong, but alas, they did also direct a movie that I just saw. That was Scream from 2022. I watched the new Scream. And yeah, I could definitely see why they directed Scream. They made this and then they went on to direct Scream. Made a lot of sense. I think that I'm really happy to see when this happens. It's kind of like with two directors that I really, really like. Their names are escaping my mind. They made the movie Synchronic and The Endless. What are their faces? I talk about them all the time with people. Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. They're directing a movie I'm very much looking forward to this year, Something in the Dirt. And they're also making Moon Knight, the Marvel series, which is awesome. Glad to see it. And I was just saying, I love when genre directors, and they're very linked in my mind because it's like a duo who specialize in a genre. So you have, Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson who do sci-fi, and then these guys who do more horror-y, comedy type of movies. It's just nice to see when it's like they make their work, they make their portfolio, and then it speaks for itself, and then they get opportunities like this. It just makes me hopeful, and it's nice to see that people are giving them their shots to make more original stuff. Even though I guess Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson are making Moon Knight, but hey, maybe they can add a splash of originality to that. So that could be fun. Just wanted to say I like these directors a lot, just who they are as people, and I do like the stuff they make. I dig the stuff they make. Scream, when I went and watched Scream, I think it was like a month ago, I watched the first one. My friend wanted to go, so I watched the first one like right before we left, and then I watched the new one, and I don't know, the new one was like, you can definitely see the love that they put into it, and like studying the old one, and they tried to be so edgy, so meta, and like reference so many things from the previous ones. At a point, some of the twists were a little underwhelming in the new Scream, but like it was still a fun time, and I think that is very much like how this movie Ready or Not was. There are some twists and some plot points that are like, okay, I guess we'll just go with that. Also, just on the directors, they were a part of the filmmaking collective who made the VHS, and I think I really do need to watch the VHS movies, or at least I know my friends really know a lot about the VHS franchise, and I do not, so maybe I should just ask them which ones I should watch and get initiated into that, because I think I'm lightening up a lot to horror movies, because I used to be like, I've barely seen any horror movies. I've seen like The Thing, and it's like, is The Thing really that much of a horror movie? But I would still say The Thing is my favorite horror movie, but there are definitely some new movies that have come out that I'm definitely a lot more willing to see in the horror genre, which is, I'm happy with my character development myself. Okay, so this film was made with a $6 million budget, and it grossed $57.6 million worldwide. And that's awesome. Good for them. I think I read on Wikipedia that it was projected to make just around what it was produced for, but man, it blew it out of the water, which is great to see. Because the theater I work at isn't like a huge theater or anything, and we got it, so it's like, hey, people wanted to come out and see it. It had quite a wide demographic, so hey, awesome. It was shot in the GTA, not Grand Theft Auto, but the Greater Toronto area, which is where I reside. And hey, that's great to see. I didn't necessarily recognize any of the locations, but it's just fun to see when high def, Josh. I know I changed one setting on my camera and I finally figured out how to use it. I'm using the exact same camera. It's in the exact same place with the exact same lighting, but I was just finally smart enough to take a look at it after many weeks of not not paying attention to it. And I literally just flipped it from manual to cinema mode. That's literally all I did. But here we are. I hope it looks better. Oh yeah. So yeah, we're talking about the movie Ready or Not. It came out in 2019. I don't know if you've seen it, Alma, but it's a fun movie. Yeah, and like I was saying, it was shot in the GTA. So places like Casa Loma, Sunnybrook Park. I'm reading a list here. The Clareville Conservation Area. I don't know where that is actually, but the Parkwood Estate in Oshawa as well. So GTA, Toronto, Oshawa. So hey, that's great to see that there's still a hub of filmmaking in Toronto area. So yes, moving on to the actual plot of this movie. So where do I start? That trailer really just kind of, yeah, it was very much the plot, which I hate when trailers do that. But so if I were to recall this tale, Ready or Not starts with a bride to be, Grace, played by Samara Weaving, on her wedding day, getting married to Alex Ladomas. And Alex's family is quite wealthy, based on a board game empire started by his grandfather. And it's their wedding night. They have to get married at the Ladomas residence because, it's tradition. And every time somebody is married into the family, or joins the family, as they say, they have to be initiated by playing a game. And this game is determined by this black box that the grandfather got from a random guy one time after playing cards with him. And it chooses what game you have to play. And she chose hide and seek, which is great. Hide and seek, it was always a go-to with me and my siblings. I love me a good game of hide and seek. I would still play a good game of hide and seek. I would. I honestly have a guilty pleasure for those like YouTuber videos that are like, I think Mr. Beast did one. He's like rented out a whole sports stadium and then they play hide and seek in there. That just, yeah, it just seems like a lot of fun. But yes, she chooses hide and seek, which is accidentally the one card that means that she has to die. So she pulls the one card. They don't tell her. They just tell her, go hide. It's going to be fun. That is the one card that means that she must be killed. And before she got married, Alex very much said to her, hey, I'm giving you an out. But he doesn't actually tell her what she's in for. Which is, yeah, Alex is the worst. He's the absolute, like, the fact, like, that's the one, okay, that's not the one plot point. There's a few plot points, but that's one plot point where it's like, maybe it's not a bad plot point because we are told that they're getting married after like 16 months of being together and just like hooking up all that time and everything like that. Like it wasn't like the most intimate, like they weren't the most, I don't know, open. That's just like an assumption. But the plot point, maybe it makes sense that Alex is just kind of like the worst and he wouldn't tell her. He's like, oh, it's never gonna happen, it's just frustrating. It could have all been avoided, Alex. Yeah, so they start to hunt her down and then she catches on and then she runs away or tries to run away. Alex helps her out, tries to disable the cameras. She tries to run away, but she gets caught. They try to kill her, but she gets away, and then she tries to escape. Oh, but she gets caught again, and that's the whole movie. And then everybody dies. That's my one big gripe with the movie. It's like, yeah, we knew she wasn't going to die. And she's not, like, actively trying to kill many of them. Like, I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so we'll start off, like I always do, with some of the characters. And I'll say that Samara Weaving, who plays Grace, the bride-to-be, was incredible, and she carried the movie. I have not seen her in anything else personally. I'm pretty sure she was in a movie called The Babysitter. I have not seen her. She looks very much like Margot Robbie. I think everybody notices that when they see her. But yeah, she was great. The way, like, sometimes it's really hard to do the very the very casual, like, the very casual talk. Maybe in this instance, well, it's like casual talk with the what's his face, with Alex's family, or just at the beginning. Like, she's just very charismatic in general, and sometimes writers, and I feel like I've probably done this too, they try to, like, they write lines so true to real life, oh, because these characters are so quirky, but, like, this thing she say when they're, like, building up to the wedding and everything, I don't know, she just felt very believable in that, and she's just, like, she feels very real in the world that we are in right now, like, she could be a person, so, and yeah, she played it off great. I think that seeing the movie through her lens was great because, yeah, she had no clue what was going on, and we're along the ride with her, and her face says it all. In every instance, she's just absolutely done with this family, and yeah, it's great. There's a moment where I really love the moment where she's in the barn when the kid comes up and the kid shoots her in the hand, and she has a giant hole in her hand. She smacks the kid, which was hilarious, and she falls in the carcass pit, and she's just screaming the whole time, and like no other words needed to be said, just the way she was just like hyperventilating and just like screaming the entire time was hilarious, and it worked so well. So yeah, she carried the movie real hard. Mark O'Brien, who played Alex, Mark O'Brien, he looked familiar. Oh, when I Google his name, it says Canadian actor. All right, respect. Love to see it. What else was he in? The Republic of Doyle. Oh, everyone's favorite show. Do I know him from anything? He was in Arrival. Okay. Captain Marks. I can't say that character means anything to me. I do love Arrival, so I feel bad that I didn't know that. Oh, I know what he's from that I remember him from. It's another, I believe this is a Canadian movie as well. And I've seen this movie before. Yeah, it is. Looks like it was based in Sault Ste. Marie. Here, let me bring it up here. I would actually recommend this movie. Movie Hammer. It's like a small town crime movie. It's just like, yeah, a thriller about this guy who gets into some trouble and he has to get his father to help him. And yeah, he plays the son. I think the father's more the main character, but here, let's see if there's any pictures of him, just to make sure it's. Oh, there's only a few pictures on the IMDb. All right. But yeah, I would recommend this movie, Hammer. It's a Canadian movie, small town crime. I love that genre. Small town crime was super fun, and yeah, it's a nice, more condensed story. And hey, yeah, this review, great indie thriller drama. That's exactly what it is. So yeah, country of origin Canada, Sault Ste. Marie. So that's what I know him from. I'm glad that I kind of I'm building a knowledge of Canadian cinema. It's very nice to see. So yeah, Mark O'Brien, who plays Alex. The whole family are despicable. He's made out to be the nice guy, but the way he goes about everything is just absolutely stupid, and everybody else is kind of like lovably stupid. They're just incompetent. But he just doesn't understand basic human decency. He's the one he's trying to be so. He's trying to look out for her. He's trying to look out for Grace. But he doesn't want to hurt his reputation. And all he wants is just to get with her, to be with her. And like, he overlooks everything. And he's just like, he's just the worst. But the movie, like, it tries to make you sympathize with his character, but after like he puts her through this and like he could have just said something, it was like no. But the movie tries really hard to humanize him and have him be like, oh, but if I told you, you wouldn't stay with me. But that's just like super manipulative, so like no sympathy. He played the character well though. He was a good actor. I think most of the actors here did their job well. Speaking of actors who did their job well, Adam Brody, who played Daniel, Alex's brother. He was honestly probably my favorite character, maybe besides Grace. Here, do I know Adam Brody from anything? Now I should have done more research here. Do I know Adam Brody from anything? Because he has a good look to him. He's fun in the movie. Like, oh, he was in the OC. He was in Jennifer's Body. Promising Young Woman. I haven't seen that. He was in Shazam, Superhero Freddy. Oh, so he was one of the older versions of one of the kids in Shazam. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I don't think I really know anything else that he was in. No, not really. He was in Scream 4. Maybe I should watch all the Scream movies. Okay, so Adam Brody. Oh gosh, why is that? Who plays Daniel? He was great. Why is this trailer playing? Okay, this is him. Adam Brody, who plays Daniel, was great. Because, like, he's the one who knows the whole family stuff is just absolutely stupid. And, I don't know. I didn't put too much thought into it, but, like, just when I see him on the screen, it's like, you don't know what he's going to do because you don't know which side he takes. And honestly, he, like, kind of takes... He takes her side in the end. I guess that's his final stand, but, like, he's just, like, the drunk idiot who's put up with his family for so long. She says the line at the very end, in-laws. But, like, when he's hanging out with his friends, going for a brew, that's his line. In-laws. I guess not in-laws, sorry. That was stupid of me. Family. The family. They're just crazy. They drive me crazy. He's that guy. Yeah, you can see that he has a connection with Alex and he has a connection with Grace, and he's like weirdly sane in the world because he knows the family traditions, and he was the one who protected Alex in the very first scene in the movie from seeing all that. So maybe he's trying to, like, give Alex a solid and be like, hey, buddy, I'm trying to give you an out by sacrificing, by, as a kid, seeing this horrible death happen. But then in the end, he's the one who bites the bullet, unfortunately. But, yeah, I liked him a lot. He was great. Who do we have next? We have... Oh, you know what picture I should bring up to look at all of them? I should bring up this. Yeah. Who do we have next? We have the father, played by Henry Cesarni. Ooh, don't know if I said that right. But he's the one in the middle, of course, the head of the table. He's the kind of dad who's, like, always taking the head of the table. Like, no matter if anybody asks for it, he's always taking the head of the table, no matter what. And he was a lot of fun. He's the one who's the most passionate about these rituals, about the tradition. I don't know. He plays the stupid father, very passionate about it, yells at everybody. He plays it well. It's kind of a cliche character, but hey, he does it well. Next, who do we got? We got Annie Mcdowell, who played the mother, who was just to the left of the father. And she... Okay, what I'm realizing now is they should make a chess game with the ready or not characters, and they're all different chess pieces. So you have the father as the king. You have the mother as the queen. You have... Ooh, who's going to be who here? Okay, so father's the king. Mother's the queen. You have the... What's her face? What's her name? The aunt, Helene. Helene can play the rooks. Because she's like... besides the queen, the rooks are the most deadly. I don't know. She just seems like the rook. And then you have the girl on the very right, who's that? Who is she again? What's her name? Emily? No, that's the one who loves Coke. Did I forget her on the list? Oh, no. Charity. That's her name. The one on the very right, Charity, she's the bishop. And then you have Fitch, the guy with the crossbow, and his... No. Actually, no. Daniel can be the knights, the horses. And then Fitch and his wife are the pawns. This would make a great chess set. Like, the way they're standing, I feel like you could just... Or if you're like playing, I mean, there's a lot of similarities from this movie to like Clue. I mean, it is a movie about board games, so yeah, they should make a board game out of it. That would be funny. A mousetrap-esque board game. You gotta find the bride. Catch the Bride. That's the name of the board game. I mean, the board game would probably be named Ready or Not, but... Oh, that would have been so funny if within the universe of Ready or Not, they have their own board game based on the family. I'm sorry, I'm just hypothesizing now. I just think it would make a great chess set. I think it would sell. Okay, so the mother, who is standing to the left of the father, right in the middle, her name is Becky, played by Annie McDowell, and she was hard to get a read on because she very much tried to sympathize with Grace the whole time and be like, no, you're a part of the family now. Yeah, yeah. And tried to connect with her, but then in the end, she tries to shoot her with the bow and arrow, and then it's like, oh, well, I guess I gotta murder you. Because, like, she definitely tried to sympathize a lot with him, whereas the father didn't. But they both put on a facade that they are on her side, or like they're nice to her when they talk. But I think they could have played it with it further, where they have the mother, they really build up this sympathy with her that when they're hunting them down, you think that maybe she actually will side with them and betray her family. But that didn't happen. But I liked her scene at the end, where she shoots the bow and arrow and then it just gets destroyed by getting smacked in the face with the box. So yes. Moving on. We have Fitch and Emily. So Emily is Alex's sister, and then Fitch married into the family. So the guy on the very left and the girl beside him, those are Emily and Fitch. Fitch married into the family, and they're the stock comedic characters. Oh boy, that was loud. They're the stock comedic characters, and it's like they're fun. I think Emily's shtick got old quickly. She did have some funny lines where it was like, the line in the trailer, I think the way she delivered it was funny. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. That was funny. The shtick with her killing all of the maids, like, got old after the first one. I guess she killed 2 of them, and then Grace did the last one. But, like, I don't know. We get it. She's coked up. She doesn't have any clue how to use a weapon, and that's her only plot point. That's her only plot device. She's stupid. It was funny when the aunt was like, hey, brown-haired niece, get over here. That was funny. Like, she had a couple moments, but, like, in general, she was kind of pointless. Fitch, on the other hand, that's my man. Him Googling if satanic curses are real or not while he's on the toilet, golden. It's like, sometimes you can't pinpoint. Comedy doesn't make any sense. Like, her character, I didn't vibe with that points, but his character just does random stuff, like Googling stuff on the toilet, and I'm dying laughing. I don't know. He was also looking at that video, how to use a crossbow. He just felt like so far removed from the rest of the family. I think that's why it worked. I don't know. Like, again, they were both very pointless within the hunt and the whole plot of the movie. But, like, he was funny. I laughed. Okay. Next we have Charity, who is Daniel's wife, played by Elise Levesque. That's a cool name. I think I said that right. That sounds French. Elise Levesque. She was cool too. She definitely, like, she married into the family. She married Daniel, but she's like super into it. She looks like a younger version of the mother. Like, she very much looks like a younger version of the mother. She's very much into it, very much loves the family. Kind of over Daniel, it seemed. Daniel just, like, has her around because he's kind of just given up on his life, really, because his family's just so crazy. Love Daniel. She was great, though. I did like her a lot. She was fun. Again, in the ensemble of the people hunting for her, she blended in. Um, she did a little bit more than Fitch and Emily, as in she tried to keep Alex in the room very, very unsuccessfully and very stupidly. She was passionate about the hunting, but like, that's it. Like, the mother, the father, the aunt, and Daniel, the brother, those guys, they very much related to the characters, or they related to Alex and Grace a lot more, as in they have much more to do directly with their arcs and their plots. And then I guess the other three. I hate to loop Charity in with Fitch and Emily, because she definitely felt different, where she wasn't just the comedic token. She was kind of just like there. And she was like funny at points, but like, the more that I talk about it, the more I'm like, I guess she didn't do too much. But I think her performance stood out a bit to me, so that's why I dug her character still a bit. So, in general, I guess I'll talk about Nikki Guadagni. Oh, that is so wrong. I'm so sorry. But who plays the aunt with the crazy haircut, who just sits at the funeral with her hands on her knees. Not the funeral, the wedding. That is complete opposite. Sits at the wedding with her hands on her knees, interrupts them while they're about to bone. Very much in line with the rituals, because her husband was one of them who was the last guy who pulled the hide and seek card, and he had to be terminated, and she did the deed. Like, her character, you see the trailer, or you like see a poster, or you see anything with her character, you're like, okay, you understand exactly what her character is going to be. She's very much like, you've seen this character, or maybe not you've seen this character, but you know exactly what she's going to be. She's going to be the spooky aunt who believes in ghosts and everything. And I think she does a fine job, but like, we knew exactly what was happening with her character. Like, I don't think it was that funny when one of the maids got shot by the crossbow, and then she kept gurgling with blood, trying to survive, and then she chops the head off with the axe. Like, it was very predictable. And it's like, oh, of course, the crazy aunt is going to do that. Yeah, she's ruthless. She does. Yeah, she does that, you know. Oh, yeah, that's my edgy aunt, you know. Like, yeah. I don't know how I feel about her. She was fine, though. She has a fun look to her. Moving on. The last character who's not in this picture that I wanted to talk about was the Butler. He had a good look to him, and he was a funny guy. And I did like the shtick of him listening to the classical music. But again, his character was like randomly in the kitchen. Why is he in the kitchen at that moment? Who knows? And then she hits him in the face. He survives. He drives and hunts her down. She chokes him. He survives. Like, him as the butler, he was funny. He played it well. He had a good look to him. But his whole thing was just getting destroyed by Grace and then trying to redeem himself. But the music thing was funny. So, like, he was fine. Okay, in general, here's some of my pros and cons for the movie. I think that this is like a movie where it's like the writers or just the creators were like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if this happened? And I like those kind of movies. Like, I have a script that I'm trying to make that is kind of like that. And I've definitely made things like that in the past. Oh, I definitely have. Wouldn't it be funny if this happens? And like, there's so many of those moments in this movie, like so many wouldn't it be funnies, that like some of them hit and then some of them don't hit. But overall, as a movie as a whole, I think it hit. Like, it was, yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if this family of board game people just had like a deadly board game or a deadly game that they always play? Like, it's a good concept. It just gets them so far without actually developing the characters a little more. But hey, it understands its silliness, and I think it did well with the R rating that it had. It's like, it doesn't feel like it's R rated. Like, one of my friends that I told to watch this probably wouldn't be into like really horror stuff and maybe more realistic gore, like as in a realistic scenario rather than the gore itself, because gore's always really tried to look realistic. Bleh. But I would recommend it to them, and I did recommend it to them because like it doesn't feel like an R-rated movie. In the sense that you're never scared. It's not scary. Right? It's like you see the gore and stuff. Maybe it's just me. Because I'm very much not squirmy to gore. So you see the gore and you're like, I'm laughing at it. Like they have the one girl's head on a stick and throws it into the pile of the animal carcasses. And it's like, that's a head on a stick. That's funny. Like it doesn't look real. I take that back. They make it look real, but the fact that they're holding a head on a stick is just funny. And yeah, her getting shot in the hand, things like that. It's made to be comedic, and they know this. And so that's why I feel like I would recommend it to some people, despite the R rating. And I respect that because you have so many movies that you see where they're like, they need to tone it down to get like that PG-13 rating or that PG rating. And you know that so many of those filmmakers just want to have the R rating, drop some F-bombs and just like go a little more crazy. And that's just what this is. They could, if they made this PG-13, it would have sucked. It would have sucked. Like, I mean, yeah, the whole ending scene just wouldn't have been there. And yeah, it wouldn't have been good. So very happy to see a movie that like has those concepts and doesn't feel the need to dial it back. So yeah, it's great. And like I said before, another pro, Samara Weaving, was great. Her laughing at the end when everybody exploding, iconic. Her just like, it sounds weird when I say like her sound effects, like her non-vocal noises that she makes are just funny and they work within the scenes. I don't know if that sounds weird, but like the way she just breathes really heavily in every scenario, the looks that she gives. All this to say, she was great. She was great. And yeah, I felt like I could have kept watching scenes with her in it. So I think that some scenes that were kind of highlighted to me, I think I said a lot of them when I was talking about the characters, like Fitch Googling things, hilarious. I think that her smacking the kid in the barn after she gets shot in the hand. I think that scene in the there were moments that I really did like. I think that in general, her being in the barn was stupid. She just escaped the house and was running around, and she's like, oh, let's go in this barn, rather than, hey, get as far away as possible from this house as you possibly can. She decided to go in this barn for some reason. Sure. But that is to say, the moments in the barn, her getting shot in the hand, loved that. I thought that was hilarious. You could see right through her hand. And then her just smacking the kid ruthlessly. This kid who's now initiated into this cult family. That was great. She fell into that pit and just vomited on some pigs. Had to climb up that ladder. I like that scene. Even though the framing of that scene didn't matter too much, it was still funny. I loved when she was fitting her outfit. She was tripping over her wedding dress, and she decides to rip it up, and she has the sneakers on under the wedding dress. She's all bloodied already. Like, oh, her costume was incredible. Her walking out at the end, that, it's like the journey that she went on was paralleled by the journey that her outfit went on, and it's just so great that it is her wedding dress the entire time. Because it's like when they go down to play the game, why is she still wearing her wedding dress? Why didn't she like take it off, you know? But I'm glad that she wore it, and I really like when characters just have a defining costume. It's like I made a short film in university where it's like my character really could have been wearing anything, but I made him wear a suit the whole time just because I really liked having that look through the whole movie. And yeah, that's exactly what happened with this. Her wedding dress starts off nice and clean. She rips it up, exposes her sneakers at the bottom. It gets completely bloodied, and it's just great. It's showing that it's probably representative of something. this wedding day got completely ruined and tarnished, and her perception of this marriage completely shattered. But I don't know. She still rocks it, even though when it's covered in her in-laws' blood. That was great. Oh, yeah. Another scene that was great. I love the ending. I did love the ending. As in, maybe not the way that they got to the ending. Like, Alex betraying her was like... It's like, I'm happy that he wasn't on her side in the end because he sucked. But, like, it's just snap of the finger. Oh. They tried to build it a little when it was like, oh, you wouldn't stay with me if I told you, would you? But, like, he's been away from his family for, like, 2 years. And now he's finally like, you know what? This chick I've been seeing, who cares about her? Yeah, we can kill her. That's fine. He just suddenly, the switch in his brain that's, like, kind of not ethical, trying to think that he's ethical human being to just, yeah, you know what? No, I'm a bad person now, and I accept that. So, as I was saying, like, getting to the ending is like, But when the ending actually happens and they all explode, oh, that was a sight to see. The kids going into the hall with the mother, and then their blood spiders coming from the hall. I will admit, I had seen the ending scene before seeing the movie, which I wish I hadn't. But it's one where I was at work, and my coworker was like, dude, have you seen the ending scene to Ready or Not? And I was like, no. And they showed it to me. I was like, that is sick. I gotta watch the whole movie. And I did. But, yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, what if this happened? And it worked. It was great. Her saying, I want a divorce, throwing the ring at him, and then he just explodes with the touch of the ring. There you go. That was great. And her laughing after that, it was hilarious. Her walking out, that last shot, that's how the ending had to have ended. There's no other ending. Her walking out of the burning building. Oh, right, the building was burning. It's like the building was littered with candles. Look at this image. Look how many candles are in this image. And then just one time when she was running away from somebody, she threw down like one lamp. And that did it. And that one lamp burnt down the whole building. But it had to end that way. The burning building. It's just like such an aesthetic. That I love that last shot. Incredible. So cinematic. And it's just, it just puts a smile on your face. What other scenes did I like? Or just things in general? Daniel's scenes. Daniel's scenes were great. Where he was the one who added the tension because you don't know if he's going to save her or not. Whereas everybody else, you know that they're going to try to kill her and you know that she's not going to die. But yeah, Daniel's scenes were great. Him in the forest, and he's like, Dad, I knew you were there. You can come out now. And the dad's like, how'd you know I was there? He's like, yeah, I just knew. And then, yeah, him telling her that he'll give her a 10-second head start. It plays into the game theme so much. I love that. Him giving her a 10-second head start. And then, she's over here. Everybody comes. He's like, oh, you just missed her. Daniel's great. Okay, I feel like those are most of my positives. I mean, I love the board game analogies, the aesthetic. My family's a big board game family, so we're not crazy like this, but we do own many board games, and it's very much Clue, which is cool to see the inspiration there. Okay, some things that I didn't like. Like I said before, we knew she wasn't going to die. And the whole plot revolved around her running away and not dying. And we knew it was going to happen. There wasn't much deeper than that. Like, it was a little surface level, you know? So that was a bummer. But it did have cool moments. And those are the highlights. Yeah, and like I said before, I feel like a lot of these notes I said with the pros, like Alex turning bad / Grace's decision to stay with him in that one scene where they're in the walls, in the corridors of the mansion. Her being like, She had the moment where she's like, oh, why wouldn't you tell me this? You're crazy. What? And then she's like, okay, you'll help me escape. That's okay. And then he did. He took down the cameras. But then in the end, no. He's actually a bad guy. Like, I guess you had to have him flip, but I think the way that him flipping sides was a little icky. And then, yeah, her decision to stay with him was, like, stupid on her. You could have either, one, had him not be that much of a dick and maybe tell her this, but she was fine with it, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to figure out what you should have done with it. Or it's just like she completely turns on him in that moment, and that motivates him to actually be a part of the family again. That could have been an alternate timeline where it's like, in that moment, she does probably what she should have done and been like, no, you're absolutely insane and crazy. Bye, I'm leaving. And then that motivates his arc more to go back to his family, which, now that I say it out loud, may have been a little predictable. But it would have made more sense. Maybe add some more rationale to the plot. But alas, yeah. Talking about the cinematography, it's like there was a lot of shaky cameras. I know when she's getting stabbed, that one scene, there's just like so many cuts, and some of the action scenes were very much a lot of cuts, a lot of shakiness. I think the stuff with her running away in the forest was like, it was all right. But like, this is the kind of movie, because it's satire and it's comedic, that like framing things just as they are, showing the exact slapstick absurd nature of it, works so well. As in her getting shot in the hand, they just had her raise her hand, she gets shot, and she sees through the hand. It's like, you don't need to cover it with any cuts, you don't need any shakiness to kind of add a more reality to it. They just had some good visual effects of that, and like, that's the funniest stuff. And it's like, oh, I just realized I'm in this. I'm showing this picture still. I guess with this picture, it also like shows like them standing like that. Yes, it's cheesy, but it makes sense because it is a cheesy movie. They're not trying to hide anything. It's funnier when you frame things very, I don't want to say symmetrically, but very neatly, and show them just as is. And then you have the crazy, ridiculous stuff happen. In my opinion, when that happens, it works a lot better than like shaky cam comedy. Because I think if you're going to do shaky cam with comedy, or just a more rough, edgy, and dirty style of filmmaking, the story very much has to play along with that. And this narrative where it's like a board game, which are very much choreographed, maybe not choreographed, but just like there's a set of rules to everything. It makes sense that the cinematography would follow certain rules as well and be very neat and like all tied up to make sense. It's like you would have a rule book to the filmmaking that would be followed. And this shot here follows it. Her getting shot in the hand that I always reference, my favorite probably part of the movie, does that. Everybody getting blown up, it's just, yeah, you show them there, they get blown up. That was great. So, yeah, some of the action trying to hide it with the edginess, but a lot of the movie still was very much as is, which was very nice to see. So, I started this rant on a con based on talking about like the forest scene of her getting stabbed in the end when she's on the table. Like they did the movie a lot. No. When I'm talking about this rule book, in a sense, they followed that a lot within the movie. And it was shot well. I will say, it was shot well. I started this off on a con, but it was done well. Also, another good thing was like, yeah, just the mise en scène was great. Like, the look of it was great. The yellows, the lights, just like them holding the lights, the contrast and everything, them wearing all black, the moodiness, the warm colors, the location, wonderful. And like I said before, her dress, she was the one wearing white, whereas everybody else is wearing darker colors. Visually, maybe not visually. Instead of talking about cinematography, just the mise en scène in general, the set direction and costumes was great. Amazing. And it made a lot of sense. She was wearing white. Her costume, iconic. That could be a great Halloween costume. Covered in blood, wedding dress with sneakers. That's great. So yeah. Some other things that I wanted to talk about was that like movies with plots that are based on like cults or tradition rituals, I don't know, sometimes they just strike me the wrong way. Where it's like Midsummer, where they have this tradition, like the scene where the people jump off this high cliff and then bash them in the face. And I understand that crazy stuff happens like that in the world. Like crazy stuff does happen like that. But when I see it on a movie and it's like some of the people just don't realize the craziness of it and they're just not rational about it at all. And that was a gripe with Midsummer. Like the whole time I'm just screaming, why are you still giving this a chance? Just leave. Right? Like literally do anything just to get out of there right then and there. I'm talking about Midsummer. This, yes, more like that. And there are some moments in this where it's like, yeah, she shouldn't have gone to that bar. She just kept running. Like, you wait for that cab. Okay, you didn't get it. Just run down the street. Just like, get your distance. Get away. And I guess it's like a classic horror movie thing where it's like you yelling at the screen. But the things with rituals, I don't know. It's like they always give me a weird feeling because it detaches it so much from reality. I don't know. I'm trying to justify this feeling that I get with movies about like rituals because I'm very much, I don't know, not ritualistic. I don't know. There's a weird thing I have. I think I need to explore it more. Maybe like try to figure out why I feel that way. But movies with rituals, it's like, like some people are just stupid. Maybe not stupid. Maybe that's rude. But like, come on, guys. Moving on. I feel like I went through a lot of the things in the movie that were like nonsensical plot things, like the butler just randomly being in the kitchen. Oh, the poison? Daniel poisoned them all, and he's like, they'll go to sleep, and then maybe they'll poop weird for a while. But then they're all just fine, like 2 seconds later. It's like it bought her like 5 seconds to able to escape that room and then run away. Like, okay. But yeah, that was most of my pros and cons that I wanted to talk about. What else do we have? In the end, I did find the movie like pretty surface level. I know there were things that they were trying to explore with like, of course, the class difference. Like they're rich. Yeah, we get it. They're rich guys, so they're the bad guys. They didn't earn anything that they have. They don't understand. The house gets burned down at the end, very symbolic. But maybe it's just like, I'm trying to think of that connection. It's like, you have the rich people who have just inherited everything, and so they inherit these rituals and traditions. And it's got to change because if I'm trying to connect it to real life, it's like they're very stuck in their ways. And they need to stop thinking the past is how things should have been done. It's 2022, guys. I don't know. It's like, I don't know how deep this movie is. You have her in search of a family, and then she gets a part of the family, and then she has a target on her back. She never had a family. She always wanted one. She was in foster homes. And then on the day she was inducted into this family. She got married legally. She's a part of the family. And then they turn on her. What does that mean? That sometimes in-laws can be bad. That marriage isn't for everybody. I don't know. I'm trying to look too deep into this. Maybe somebody's written like an essay about it. but I have not, clearly. I guess one other thing was, like, at the very end of the movie, everybody explodes, and she's technically married to him still. Does she get the inheritance? Is she the only living relative? Are there other Le Domases somewhere in the world that would get this inheritance? Or would she get the entire thing? Such a rich family. I'm sure not everything was just in that house. I'm sure there's some other funds that she can acquire from all of their deaths. So maybe she benefits from it. Maybe she shouldn't have burnt down the house and just let them explode and then just, hey, that's your house now. But maybe you wouldn't want to live in that creepy house. Oh, one thing I didn't talk about. At the very end, Mr. Victor Le Domas, his ghost was shown in that burst of fire. That was lovely. That was wonderful. That was art. That was cinema. I love that scene. I love that shot of him being showing. It's just like him nodding. Literal Satan. Like, yeah, was he Satan? Yeah, what's the lore? It was like, you have Victor, who played cards with this random guy, who then gave him that box that lets you draw a card. And then they made a deal. That was the deal with the devil. And then it's literally a Satan deal. So it's like, I think Satan, who, if it was like a deal with the devil, had very comedic timing when he's making everybody exploding, and I respect that. He saved Alex for last, just to have that extra punch, to get her, to allow her to have that one-liner. He had I think he was choreographing that behind the scenes. He was the one who planned out when everybody was going to explode. So, but yeah, I love that nod with the ghost Satan. That's another, well, wouldn't this be funny moment that hit real good. And I think overall, coming to a close here, I think, I enjoyed this movie, despite its flaws. It was a fun ride. Of course, it has some horror movie things where you're like, why are you doing this? What is the point of this? Why are you there now? But the plot was fun. It was silly. It was gory in a good way. And overall, I feel like I've said this for a lot of movies I've chosen recently. And these are the movies that I want to keep choosing. But it's like, it's nice to see that these movies are being made. Not remakes, not sequels, although they did do the Scream one. I want new characters, and these are new characters. I want new stories, and hey, that's what this brought. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of new content. Stop making remakes. Are like, okay, sequels I get because you can tell new stories, but like remakes are like, just stop. I hate every single live action Disney remake. Like, I didn't mind the Jungle Book one. Inherently, it's not god-awful. But, like, it just didn't need to happen. That's the only one that's decent. All the other ones, The Lion King, despise. Mulan, trash. Cinderella, haven't seen and never will. Beauty and the Beast, same thing with Cinderella. It's like, ugh. Please, Disney, stop with the live-action remakes of these cartoon movies. Please. Alas, that is the end of my rant. My weekly rant on why, one, trailers are bad unless they're good, and remakes and sequels fall to cool original stuff. In the end, I gave this movie a 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. And like I say every week, it's just a number review. Who cares? It's about talking about it. And so, yeah, if you've seen this movie, hey, let me know what you thought. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. And I would recommend it to anybody who likes silly action movies. If you like fun horror movies, like there's definitely a certain person, like certain kind of person that's like, oh, the horror junkie, or they just like crazy, silly movies. They're into cult movies. This is like one that, yeah, okay, they would likely enjoy this. So it's a good time. I enjoyed it. And now I'm just going to choose what we're going to watch next week. I have a couple choices. I think I have 3 lined up that I might just do all 3 of them at some point. But I think, okay, I've wanted to watch this movie for a while, and I've heard good things. and I just never got around to it. I know a lot of people may have seen it already, but the movie I'm going to choose is called, drumroll please. That's not the movie, but drumroll please for me about to show this movie. It's called Paterson, with Adam Driver playing a driver. Like, the way people have explained this movie to me was Adam Driver drives a bus and, like, nothing happens. But, like, it's good. And I'm excited to see what it has to offer. I'm not going to watch a trailer like I never do. A quiet observation of the triumphs and defeat of the daily life, along with the poetry evident in its smallest details. Jim Jarmusch. What else did he do? Jim Jarmusch. Did he do The Dead Don't Die? Yeah, he did. That's another one that I want to watch that I haven't seen, but I like Jim Jarmusch, if I'm saying his name right. But yeah, should be fun. I've heard funny things about this movie, and I'm very much looking forward to watching it. I don't know what to expect, really. People say it's like, oh, it's a slice of life, but then like it's poetic and like not much happens, but it's fun, it's cool. So hey, I guess you'll have to see next week. So yeah, that is it for this week. That is Paterson that we're going to watch next week on, what day are we watching? On the 21st? 21st, Monday the 21st at 7 p.m. EST. Be here at the Film Spot.